Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to PLUS Model Radio, the #1 podcast for plus-size women. I'm your host, Chenese Lewis, coming to you live from Los Angeles. Today is Monday, May 10th, 2010, and as always, I've got a fantastic show for you this evening. On today's show, we have 3 plus-size models at various stages of their careers. Our first guest, Molly, is a new model and just won a model search with Catherine's and is at the beginning of her career, just getting started. And our second guest, Muslimah, is a top model right now, and she's in a lot of campaign, and she's current, and she's 6 years in. And then our third guest, Tracie, is a veteran in the plus modeling industry, and she's been modeling for over 15 years and now is in the second phase of her career as an entrepreneur. So they're all going to have great advice and great stories, and it's going to be interesting to hear about the industry from 3 different perspectives and 3 different levels. So as I said, coming up later on the show are Tracie Stern and Muslimah Shabazz. And up first is Molly Tessa, but we also are going to hear from our PLUS Model Radio contributors, Madeline Figueroa-Jones and Sage Salzer, a little later on. Now, our first guest, Molly, lives in Clearwater, Florida, and is a part-time substitute teacher at a special education center. She used to teach full-time, but is now focused on pursuing plus-size modeling as her career. She recently won the Catherine's Real Women Model Search and won a 2-year modeling contract with Dorothy Combs Models, and also an appearance in a marketing campaign for Catherine's and a trip to New York City for a professional photo shoot and spa treatment and a $1,000 gift certificate. And her career is definitely off to a great start. Let's welcome Molly to the show. Hi, Molly, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, how are you?
Good, thank you for having me on your show.
Well, thanks for being on the show. So tell us, how did you find out about the Catherine's Real Women Model Search?
Well, I've been trying to pursue plus-size modeling, and my friend's husband actually saw the ad in a flyer, and he called me, and I went over there, and they showed it to me, and I sat down immediately with them and wrote the essay. It required there was an application page you had to download and then an essay, and you had to submit a couple of pictures. So I immediately typed up the essay and was reading it to them and read it to my husband, and they gave me their input, and I printed it instantly and shoved it in the envelope and put it in the mail. And
so that same day you learned about the contest,
yes.
You sent in your submission?
Yes.
So you weren't playing.
No, I was serious about it. And I know you had asked if I still had the essay to read, and it's kind of ironic because they've picked on me so because they're like, you should have saved it. But I was so eager to just print it off and get it in the envelope that I didn't. But I read it so many times I mostly remember all of it. But
so
the
what
essay
did it say?
It was supposed to be 50 words or less, and it pretty much just said, tell why you think you are a real woman and why Catherine should choose you as the winner for this contest.
Mm-hmm.
So I started it with, I am a real woman. I am a substitute teacher. I am a model. I am a kind person. I am a daughter. I am a sister. I am beautiful inside. I embody the confidence that Catherine's clothes make you want to show. And I have the self-confidence that Catherine's clothes make you feel. And that's not word for word, but that's basically the general gist. But I shoved it immediately in the envelope and put it right in the mailbox.
And hey,
and
it worked,
like,
so it did the job.
That. You should have saved it, yeah.
And so you recently went from teaching full-time to part-time to pursue being a plus-size model. So before you entered this model search, did you already make that career change, or did you just do that after you won?
I've constantly been pursuing it for about 2 years, and I've been lucky. I've gotten some things locally in this area, a lot of fit modeling work, which is based off your measurements. But, you know, something I would like to say to everybody who is aspiring to be in this industry, stay strong, because I got rejected so many times from so many places, and it is such a blessing to win this Catherine's contest after so many people over and over and over telling you you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not skinny enough, you're not tall enough, you don't have the right look, you're this, you're that. For over 2 years, and some of the companies repeatedly rejected me. So it just, you know, if you want something, just stay true to it and stay true to yourself and work hard and never give up just because somebody says you're not what they think you should be. Just
right, because you might be exactly what somebody else is looking for.
Exactly.
So one of your prizes when you won the model search was a trip to New York. Now, was that your first time in New York, and how did that go?
I had been to New York as a child with my family, but that was my first time going as an adult for something so fun. It was amazing. The trip started off a little shaky because my airplane had been struck by lightning here in Florida. We had a terrible lightning storm, and that next morning they said the plane was unsafe. So, of course, you know, with every plane, you know, having some issues, everything to New York was either booked or canceled. So I was starting to have a little panic in the airport, but the marketing team at Catherine's was so accommodative, and they were so helpful and great. And after several hours of trying to work something out, we ended up getting a flight into Philly, and that's where Catherine's is based with Charm Shops. And the marketing director who I had worked with, she ended up meeting me at the Philly airport, which was so nice, and she rode into New York City with me. So we had to rearrange some travel plans and everything, so that was a little interesting of a start. But once I got there, they were amazing. The trip was amazing. The staff at Catherine's, they spoiled me. They did above and beyond. It was an amazing experience, and the photo shoot was great. And
that was your first major photo shoot, right?
Yes.
So were you nervous? How did the photo shoot go?
It was weird. It was half just nervous out of my mind, and then the other half of me felt, hey, this is where I belong. This is what I want to do. So it almost felt just right on the inside with still a little bit of nerve. It was surreal. Surreal would be a good word. The whole thing was just very surreal. Like, I still can't believe I won. I still can't believe I went to New York. It's all still sinking in, but it was incredible, and the staff was amazing, and the other models I met there were fantastic, and they were such excellent posers. It was so great to watch them and learn.
And after the photo shoot, you had the opportunity to go to lunch with some of the professional models. Now, who was there, and did they give you any career advice?
Yes, I got to meet Randy and Sage. Those were Catherine's models that I got to meet, and then there also some members from the marketing team, and then the stylist from the shoot were also there. So I got to meet all of them, and the models gave me a lot of excellent advice. They're also, their agent is also Dorothy Combs, the one that you win the 2-year contract with through this contest. So they told me a lot about her and explained a lot about that agency and the modeling industry, and they told me a lot about the Catherine's photo shoots. And Sage, I got to meet her. She'll be on your show tonight. She's actually the one who told me of your show and asked me if I would be interested, and I was very excited about that.
Yeah.
So, hi, Sage. Thank you.
So, like you just said, you won a 2-year contract with Dorothy Combs. Now, just because you got the modeling contract is still a lot of work to do to get your career up and going. So far, have you faced any obstacles or challenges with getting your career started even after you got the contract?
Yes, well, like you said, they're two separate things. So the trip to New York was one half of it, and now as far as to get this other ball rolling, as far as working with Dorothy and getting this contract started, I need to meet with her and get down to Miami and do some test shots with her and make a comp card for her agency and start submitting that.
Oh, so you haven't even gotten that far yet?
Right.
Okay. So, one of your prizes, like I just said, was with Dorothy Combs. Now, did she tell you there were anything you need to do to, improve your chances to be more marketable in the modeling industry?
Well, we've been back in touch, and I've submitted some snapshots to her over the email, and she's just asked me to kind of keep her updated with those, and we have to coordinate schedules for me to get down there and pretty much take it from there.
Now, are your plans to relocate to a larger market?
If that's what it took, I would be open to doing that for my career. But from what I understand is you can pretty much travel to where your jobs are booked, and I'm open to that as well. I'm just so grateful for this opportunity. I would do whatever I needed to do.
Exactly. So now that you won the contest and you're going to have, your first client is going to be a major one in your portfolio, what are your ultimate goals and dreams as far as your PLUS modeling career?
Well, I would love to take it wherever I can go with it. Anybody who would like to use me as their model, I would be glad to be their model. There's so many excellent opportunities now to be a PLUS model, and it's so nice that it's becoming more prevalent, and it's so nice that there's actually retailers who are starting to market towards women. And, several years ago you didn't find this, and it's just really nice now that they have clothing stores catered to us, and other stores that are starting to launch lines for us, and it's more realistic, and I think it's great that they're starting to realize that they should include everybody.
And so you still starting and you're still beginning, and what advice would you give? I know you said don't quit, but if you wouldn't have won this model search, do you think you would still be pursuing it, and you think you would still be going strong, or were you getting kind of discouraged?
Oh, it's easy to get discouraged when people are constantly telling you that you're not good enough. I would still be trying. There's several plus-size agencies throughout the United States and all over the world, really, that you can send pictures to, and you keep trying. Even if you send one comp card out, you still practice and look for different looks and shoot with different photographers, and who's to say that 1 year later you can't resubmit another comp card to everybody.
Right. Now, what do you think is harder, being a plus-size model or a teacher?
Both have pros and cons on any given day. Well, I'm a special ed teacher, so there's a lot of difficulties with that some days.
Right.
But then when you look at something like modeling, hey, I don't think it's unreasonable that a lot of your trips could start out with planes being struck by lightning and having to reroute through a different city, and that's a trial you don't have to face just going to a school every day. Right.
So I guess it's nothing perfect. It's pros and cons to everything,
exactly.
Like you said. So, do you have a website yet? Do you have anything online where people can check you out?
No, I haven't really gotten to that phase yet. It's still pretty new.
Right. Anything coming up that we can be on the lookout for, or we just have to wait till you get your new photos?
Guess wait till new photos. Maybe perhaps I'll start putting things up on Facebook. I
So
know.
You are on Facebook? You have a Facebook
I am
profile?
on Facebook. My Molly Tessa is my middle name, and my Facebook is actually under my last name, which is Stiglitz.
Okay.
I know that my mom just put some pictures that were taken at the Catherine shoot in New York on there. I'm not to the professional level yet. I have some work to do.
Well, cool. I mean, you're off to a great start because there's some models that have been modeling for years and still haven't got Catherine photo shoots. So.
I know. It's so amazing.
So you started off with a bang. Well, continued success with your career, and I look forward to seeing you grow, and you'll have to keep us posted as you progress in the industry.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for being on the show. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that was Molly, the winner of Catherine's Real Women Model Search, and look out for her. She's going to have a lot of exciting things coming up with that under her belt. Now we're going to have a word from our sponsors.
It's that time of year again. Get ready for Atlanta's most epic event for bold, beautiful, confident, sexy, and curvaceous women everywhere. Project Curve Appeal and Pink City Entertainment presents a weekend full of fun and excitement, starting with the 4th Annual Bachelorette Expo hosted by Venom on Friday, May 21st, featuring all the things women love. Novelties, accessories, fashion, pole dance classes, and, of course, the male review. And just when you thought that was enough, on Saturday, May 22nd, there's the Model Me Experience, featuring a giant photo shoot and model training. The Curve Appeal Beauty Fashion and Health Expo, featuring amazing vendors, and the Respect My Curves fashion show, and the first ever Curvy Masquerade party for those sexy ladies with Curve Appeal and the men that love them. All events are held at the Springforth Center in Midtown. For more information, call 702-518-1722. That's 702-518-1722. Or visit www.projectcurveappeal.com.
And we're back to the show, and up next is one of our PLUS Model contributors, Madeline Figueroa Jones, and we're a little early, so while we are waiting for her to call in, I want to remind you that PLUS Model Radio has a website now at www.plusmodelradio.com. And if you haven't checked it out already, make sure you go to the website. On the website, you can see the upcoming episodes, the archive episodes. You can see my bio and a link to my website. You can read about the contributors. And also is where you can submit to be a guest on the show. So if you're interested in being a guest on the show, but you don't know how to submit, you go to plusmodelradio.com, and there's a form. I think it's Contact Us, and you just submit your information. And it's also a place if you want to advertise on the show and play your commercial like the one we just heard from Curve Appeal. Also, don't forget to join the PLUS Model Radio fan page at www.facebook.com/plusmodelradio. And we have a lot of exciting shows coming up and some surprises. So make sure you tune in every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. But if you miss the show live, you can always go to the website and play it anytime at your convenience. So I'm filling time waiting for here we go. Now, here's our contributor, Madeline, is going to give us the latest in the industry. Hey, Maddie, what's up?
Hi, how are you?
Good. So what's going on in the curvy community?
Well, everything is buzzing here in New York City. There's so much going on. I've spoken to about 3 different designers just today that are very excited about everything that's going on in New York. Full Figure Fashion Week, of course, is the primary focus for June. And so the designers and everybody's really excited about it. So that's going really well. And then I'm really excited about the June issue. I just got a phone call that another one of our models that was featured in a previous issue of PLUS was signed to Ford in Chicago. So we're going to be doing, So I emailed back and forth with her new booker at Ford, and we're going to be doing an interview with her and have some follow-up pictures from her shoot. And so you can see how, she was a natural in front of the camera. We shot her here in New York. Her name is Emma Mayer, and she's just absolutely wonderful. She's actually one of the last year's winners from the Torrid Model Search.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, along with Natalie, who's in the Beauty this month. So she's doing really, really well in Chicago, and so we're going to be doing an interview with her, kind of following up with her so that, those aspiring models that feel like, you win a model search, nothing ever happens, or, you're just one of many or nothing ever happens, you really don't know the steps that you take that will take you, to the next level in your career.
Exactly.
And then we are going to be making some details known in our 4th anniversary issue in July. It's going to be PLUS Model Magazine's 4th anniversary issue. And
has it been 4 years already?
Already 4 years. Can you believe it? So we're doing a model search here in New York City.
Okay.
And we are going to be putting out the details in the July issue. It's going to be very exciting, very nice. It's going to be in my hometown, so I can't wait to see all the models coming for the model search and coming to the casting. So it's going to be very nice. I'm very, very excited about that. And that's pretty much it. Those are the topics of this week.
And the cover model for this month is absolutely fabulous.
Oh, my goodness. Jordan was a dream to work with. She was just, you can just, we work with a lot of really great models, but you could just tell those models that they're just so fluid. She was so nice. She was so spiritual. She was just a joy. The whole entire day was just completely amazing. She was so great in front of the camera. It was hard choosing her pictures because she had so many great shots.
Wow.
And she's smart. She's very smart. She's one of those models that's not saying, well, I'm pretty, I'm just going to model for the rest of my life. She's almost done with her degree in law. She's going to be a lawyer.
Really?
So, yeah. So she's really smart. She has a lot of knowledge, and she came from a model search. That's how she started in the modeling industry. So, you just never know, and I can't stress enough for the aspiring models. We get emails all the time and post on our Facebook fan page about, I'm starting out, I'm a plus-size model, I want to model, I'm an aspiring model. You really have to, I can't emphasize enough, you really have to read, you have to research, you have to take those steps. There's models out there that are walking in the mall and they get scouted, but that's not everybody. The boards are not filled with those girls. The boards are filled with those girls that are taking those steps
and
to get into that position. Exactly. I respect the hustle. I do respect the hustle. Just do it in a way, with integrity. Don't beat everybody over the head with, your pictures all the time and, I'm still waiting. That kind of gets, on people's nerves, and I can't tell you how many people have called me to tell me that, but, just do it with integrity. Have some pride in who you are and know that people are watching you. It just takes a little bit of time. There's a lot of models out there, and there's a lot of models that are like, well, why hasn't Maddie picked me for the cover, or why am I not in an editorial? Because it hasn't been your time yet. You know what I mean?
Everybody has their time.
Exactly. You just have to give it a little bit of time. We're working on it. We're working on different concepts, and you'll be perfect for your concept, and that's what you want. You want to be comfortable on, with your concept and what it puts you in, and that's what I'm doing. So it's really great. I think we're doing so well. The industry is just, completely buzzing with so much going on.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's the curvy revolution.
It truly is. It truly is. In fact, the Curvy Revolution, we're going to be involved with the Curvy Revolution next February. I'm really excited about that. I'm going to be a judge, and I've been speaking with Kiki Dillard a lot. She's a great woman, just so inspiring. And we're going to be working with them in a future issue of PLUS. So I'm not going to divulge too much information, but it's really going to be really, really cool. So I'm really excited about that as well.
Well, awesome. Sounds like a lot of good things going on, and I know you'll keep us posted as things progress. And thank you for contributing to the show today.
Thank you. Thank you.
and I'll talk to you later.
All righty. Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And definitely check out this month's edition of PLUS Model Magazine. And I'm telling you, that's one of my favorite covers because Jordan, she's bad. She has it going on. Now, our next guest, she's bad and she has it going on too. Muslimah Shabazz. Muslimah is originally from Alaska, but now resides in New York, and she has been modeling for 6 years, and she's represented by Click New York, Wilhelmina LA, and Dorothy Combs. She has been the face of Ashley Stewart for numerous campaigns, and some of her other clients include Macy's, Deb Shops, Kohl's, Playtex, and Fruit of the Loom. Let's welcome Muslimah to the show.
Hello.
Hi, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, no, thank you. I know my voice sounds like a Smurf on the radio, but, you know.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. So tell us, how did you get started as a plus-size model?
I started, my ex-boyfriend at the time, I've always wanted to model, and I've always been a big girl. You know, I was never that size 2, you know, stick-thin figure. I was always a big girl into sports, softball, volleyball, what have you. And, you know, he was like, you know, there are plus models. And I was like, really? And I was like, well, he's seen me naked, so maybe, you know, it's true. And I went I went to open call for Wilhelmina, and they signed me up on the spot.
Really?
Really, yeah.
When you just walked in the door, they were like, we want you, you're signed?
I walked in, the open call, I think it was like Wednesday at 10 a.m. I got off work and walked in, and I brought some pictures I had taken when I was in Hawaii on vacation. They're like, okay, we want you. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah.
Wow, it was meant for you.
Yeah,
so once you signed with the agency, did you have struggles getting your career started, or did you start booking automatically?
No, it was a struggle. I was still doing a corporate job. I just graduated from college and, you know, trying to balance the two. And, you know, you graduate from college, you get your degree, you go into corporate America, and you're like, okay, you know, maybe this is my life, maybe this is what I want to do. And
right.
I realized that, no, this isn't what I want to do. And, you know, my first job came probably maybe like 3 months after I had signed with them. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, this is what I've dreamed of. This is what I want to do.
And so what was the first job that you booked?
It was a division of Macy's. God, they're not even around anymore. They're in the South. They're represented by the South.
But it was something good. It was something major.
It was something great, and it was amazing, and I flew down there, and I did my thing, and I was like, yeah, this is it. And the wheels were set in motion, and a year later, I was like, okay, I'm done with corporate America, and I want to model.
So now do you model full-time, or do you have a day job just part-time?
Modeling is my full-time job, but I do have a part-time job. I do.
Okay. So one of your clients that we're all familiar with seeing you is Ashley Stewart. Now, you've modeled with Ashley Stewart consistently for a long time. How long have you modeled with Ashley Stewart, and do you get recognized all the time for those campaigns?
Ashley Stewart, I modeled with them for 5 years. It was great. Yeah, they are a great client. I love Ashley Stewart. The people there, they become family, and it's a great client to work for. 5 years, and I love what they are. I love what they represent, and, you know, and, yeah, Ashley Stewart.
And so do you get recognized a lot when those ads are out?
Because there's an Ashley Stewart in my building where I live, and people would see my pictures outside on the windows and go in the store and recognize me. So where I am, the people where I live know who I am.
So when they recognize you, do they say anything, or they just stare at you?
No, they stare, and then if they get the courage, they say something, and I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm like, yeah, right, that's me.
So, you know, you model with Ashley Stewart a lot, and you have a lot of major clients under your belt. And there was a recent blog written by a blogger named Sasha Fierce about how black plus-size models are underrepresented in the industry. So even though you're a very successful model, do you feel you have all of the same opportunities in the industry as your white counterparts?
It's 50-50. I mean, when you're representing a company, automatically I think they're going to choose either a blonde or a brunette. And then they might say, oh, okay, you know, maybe we should have a black model in there. And, you know, I feel like there are some disadvantages and there are some advantages. It depends on the company and who you represent and what they want you to be.
Now, when opportunities do exist for black plus-size models, do you feel sometimes it's geared towards the lighter complexion, ambiguous look? Has that been an ongoing challenge for your career?
It has been, because when I first started, I noticed there's a lot of light-skinned black models with curly hair that were working.
Right.
And I was like, God, my hair is not curly. Like, what should I do? You know, and I talked to my stylist, my hairstylist, Will Robinson. I love him to death. And I was like, he's like, let's just change it up. So I put a weave in. I got a longer hair, and I started working a lot. You know, and I'm not to say that, you know, not having curly hair you can't work, but it did, like, set me apart a little bit, I think, and I got a lot of jobs from it, and, you know, you have to
and I think that's amazing for you, because it's kind of like the odds are against you in some ways, and you still doing a whole bunch of stuff, so that's just awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, you were also quoted in an article on CNN.com saying that we don't have to take our clothes off for you to be able to see that we're plus size. And you were referring to a recent magazine spread. I think it was V magazine. So has there been a career choice of yours to not do risque photo shoots? And have you had to turn down jobs because of it?
No, but I was referring to Glamour magazine when they had all those beautiful plus girls and they were, you know, naked. And I was like, oh, okay, I understand what they were trying to go and trying to do, but it seems like every plus-size woman they featured was naked. I'm like, you know, God, okay, we know our body shapes. We know what we look like. I don't understand why we always have to take our clothes off for it. I wasn't saying it was a bad thing, but I'm just like, okay, we know we're a size 14, 12, 16. You know, we can show ourselves wearing clothes that are, you know, at the Gap, Banana, Versace, you know, Saint Laurent. That's what I was saying. I was like, we don't always have to be naked. There are clothes that fit our body types that are expensive or on the lower end. But
would you do a nude photo shoot?
Nude. I don't know. I don't know if my mom would like that too much. Maybe if I was painted. Like I did in Sports Illustrated, and they paint and cover. I'm like, yeah, Mom, I'm nude, but technically, you know, I'm covered. Yeah, I would welcome that.
So, and when you speaking, you just, you know, said about your mom, and, you know, I guess you take in consideration your family and different things that you do, and I wonder if religion plays a part, because from your name, I assume you're Muslim. Is that true?
It is true.
So how does your religious beliefs play a part of your decisions about what you're willing to do and not do as far as your modeling career?
It plays a pretty big part. It's like I have my mom on my right side saying, okay, maybe this is a little too risque. I mean, I remember when I got my first big bra campaign for Playtex, and it's just me in a bra. There's nothing risque about it. There's nothing hanging over, hanging under, whatever. Everything's intact.
But Mama was like,
Yeah. Mama was like, I don't know if this is very Islamic. And I'm like, you know, Mom, I'm not doing anything that's grotesque. I'm here. I'm just promoting a bra and Playtex. And, you know, I'm not doing anything crazy. My legs aren't spread open. I'm not, you know. Yeah, so I was like, it's very simple. You know, she had a hard time with it, but she understands the industry I'm in, and you have to promote people. And if me being in a bra is going to make another woman feel better about herself and better about her breasts, then I'm all for it.
So do you shy away from, like, lingerie and swimsuits, or you go for it all?
No, I'll go for it all. As long as it's in good taste, it's not grotesque, yes, I go for it all.
Oh, awesome. So do you have anything coming up that we can be on the lookout for?
I'm on Deb Shops right now. You can go to debshops.com and see me. I'm there. Hopefully, you know, I know it's a recession right now. Things have slowed down, and I'm just very thankful for the companies that I am working for, like Deb Shops and Ashley Stewart and Kohl's. So I have to be very thankful for that. That's coming my way.
Yeah. And do you have an official website? You're not really on the Internet that much, huh?
I'm kind of old school when it comes to that. The Facebook thing, MySpace, and website.
Twitter.
I don't know. Twittering, yeah. I don't know if people want to know I'm going to the bathroom right now, or if,
But we want to know your campaigns that are coming up, though.
Yeah, I'm very humble in that way. It's like if people see me and say, "Oh, hey, I saw that. That's great." That means more to me than me sending out a mass Facebook or email or Twitter account and telling them like, "Oh, I'm here. I've never been that person. I've always been very humble, and I like to think I'm a little shy. My personality is very outgoing, and I'm loud and obnoxious sometimes, but I've never been that person to like, oh, hey, did you see me? I did this campaign, I did a commercial for my ally, and I was like, yeah, I did a commercial. I told my close friends, and that was it. And if people recognize me, they recognize me, but if not, it's okay.
So you're not into self-promoting too much.
I'm not, but maybe I should be in this day and age.
Yeah. Because I was searching for some stuff about you and looking online. I was like, she's real low profile.
I am low profile, but maybe I should be more open. Maybe I should have my face out there everywhere so they can get sick of me real quick.
Well, thank you for being on this show. It was a pleasure talking with you. And I think we've never met in person, but I know a lot of people would think we would have because you were in the Flawless calendar in 2008.
I know. I just pulled out that CD and I saw it and I was like, oh, my God, I remember doing this. This was wonderful.
But I wasn't in New York when you did the photo shoot, so we still have yet to meet in person.
Yes, Jamil it was so nice of her to ask me to be in it. I loved it.
Yes,
I did love
you
it.
rocked it.
Thank you very much for having me on air, I should say. Thank you for recognizing me, and thank you very much, Shanice.
Yes, and continued success with your career.
Oh, thank you. Maybe I'll let you know if I'm on Facebook.
Okay, you have to look me up then.
Yes.
All right, enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too, honey. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that is Muslimah, and I know you've seen her definitely at Ashley Stewart, but she's all over the place. Very beautiful chocolate model, and I'm very proud of her and her accomplishments. And up next is one of our PLUS Model Radio contributors, Sage. So let's see if we can get Sage on the line. Hi, Sage. Are you there?
I sure am. How are you doing tonight?
Good. So what question you have for us tonight?
So tonight I have a question, Shanice, from Kylie in Dallas. And she asked, what modeling advice could I give for going to her first job?
Okay.
And I was thinking about that. The first thing I would recommend would be to research the company.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's also really good if you're going to a casting for them.
Google
I've always been surprised that some people don't do that because it just gives you a feel for, what you're walking into, what they're looking for, what they like, the pictures they choose, if they like smiley, if they like sexy. And I think that would be a great place to start.
So always do your research.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I think it's really important. And let's see. Bring flesh-colored undergarments.
Yes.
That is very important. Don't come with your bright pink bra, and I think people would be surprised what goes on sometimes. But yeah, seriously. But
they need to Google model bag maybe, so to know where all the tag in a model bag.
Yes, exactly. But you'd be surprised. There's girls who are, they do work and they still don't seem to bring stuff sometimes. I don't know, but I don't know. I'm very much like be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Because facing like an onset emergency is so unpleasant.
Right.
And ultimately, what it could result in is you looking like really bad in the garment. And the whole point of being there is to make the garment look good. And often, clients, they hire the people back who sell the most clothes. They do studies.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like Land's End, for example, they can tell you who sold the most Yeah, and it's interesting. I've heard from different clients that some models, they can put anything on and the clothes will sell.
Really? And so that's the models that get the most work.
Year. Yes. And so it's just that important to make every garment look good, and like what you're wearing underneath really, really helps.
The foundation too.
Yes, and like the bra that is deep cut because maybe the shirt is, or strapless. Whatever is going to make it look good, and minimizers for some garments, and then pads for another.
But you would never really need a push-up bra, would you? Because the PLUS modeling is pretty conservative.
Typically, absolutely, especially for catalog stuff. Maybe for editorial, it would be a great thing just to have it in there, because it seems like whatever, the weirdest thing that's asked for, the one time you don't bring it, is the time that it's needed.
That you need it, right.
Yeah. I think other advice would be to, a big one also is like hang up the clothes after
don't leave them all over the floor.
Yeah, that's not nice. I think it's just the same, the old like adage, don't, pick up after yourself.
Right.
Your mother isn't on set. You're a grown-up.
Right.
And, and unless you're pushed for time and they don't want you to hang it up, they want you to hand it to them because you guys are hurrying, or you're hanging it on a hanger that has some code and you be confused. But otherwise, definitely, like, hang it up. And then just the basic, come with a clean face, clean hair, unless otherwise specified by your booker. And a big one also is don't talk about your problems at work.
Don't talk about your boyfriend.
No, don't talk about any little thing that's, I don't know. I really think that best case scenario, leave your problems at the door. And
because you can actually see that in the photos if you're kind of nervous or mad.
It's so true. I've had like one or two shoots over the last decade. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that's the other line. It's so embarrassing that it's busting through. But I've had like one or two over the last decade where I was really sad that day, and it was so hard not to have it come through.
But you were able to pull it off?
Yes, because at the end of the day, keeping that one client is worth so much in the long term when you look at it over a year or years. And, and you might feel really close to the makeup artist or stylist or whomever, but I think it's just best to keep, if you can. Like I remember my dog he pulled off the leash and was running through the city with no collar, and he was gone for 8 days while I traveled the whole time.
Oh.
And like 3 of the days I went on all-night flights, showered in the airport in those stupid clubs, and I went straight to the shoot. So I was just really exhausted, and I knew
if I shower, they don't give you your schedule enough time. You could go to the hotel room and shower.
Oh no, because you need, checkout is like say at 2, and then you go directly from the job back to the airport. And then you can get certain credit cards where you get free membership to like Continental, American, and Delta, I think it is. And then they have showers in there. It's just so hard to sleep on a flight.
That's when you get to supermodel status. I don't think
not even supermodel. I think it's just, trying to keep up.
Yeah.
And I remember at first I was like, I don't know if I can do that. And they're like, well, all the straight size models do.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, but I mean, but the point was I was just like, I wouldn't even bring it up on shoots because I would be in tears, and I want, you're right, you don't want to bring up that stuff because it will translate in front of the camera.
Wow. Well, thank you for that info. That was very
thank you so much for
educational and informative.
I hope I will continue to get more questions on the public Facebook page, which is Sage Salzer Model, and or the PLUS Model Radio blog.
Yes. Well, thank you, Sage. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And last but definitely not least is Tracie Stern. And Tracie Stern has been an international plus model for 15 years. Her extensive career has taken her to many countries, including Australia, Spain, France, Italy, Germany, Greece, and South Africa. She has worked throughout Canada and the United States for many major clients such as JCPenney, Vanity Fair Lingerie, Hanes, Sears, Fashion Bug, Macy's, Dillard's, and many more. Her international clients include Quelle, Germany, and Quelle, France, and Peter Meyer, Germany, and Claudia Magazine, Poland. In her career, Tracie has graced the runway in Canada, the U.S., and Australia, where she walked in their Spring Fashion Week 2002, sponsored by Cosmopolitan Magazine, Australia, and L'Oreal, Paris. Tracie is currently working with Macy's Midwest as a guest commentator for their Women's Way events and recently founded the Understudies Fashion and Modeling Etiquette Institute, which is the first business school for the fashion industry. Let's welcome Tracie to the show. Hi, Tracie. How are you?
I'm good, Chenese. How are you?
Good. Well, thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Thanks for having me.
You're definitely a veteran in the industry, and you've done so much. So how did you get started in plus-size modeling?
Well, I started my modeling career at age 5. Actually, I wouldn't even call it a career at that age. It was more like, ooh, this is cute. And my mom liked to dress me up. I turned professional in my 20s as I was coming out of university in Canada. And I had wanted to model my whole entire life, and I had gone to the straight size agencies, and I had met with, I'd gone to the Fords and in Toronto, and they're all like, well, you need to lose weight, And this was in the early 90s when the plus size industry was sort of just kind of breaking through, and models like Emmy and Christine Alls, and they were kind of making their way for us. And my mom was going through the yellow pages and said, hey, Tracie, there's this agency here called Plus Figure Models. Why don't you go talk to them? So went in, had a meeting with them, and they said, we love you just the way you are. Don't change a thing. Here's the contract.
Wow.
So at that point, I was like, wow, I don't have to do anything. You'll take me just as I am.
So you were just handed a contract when you walked in immediately?
Pretty much the first meeting, yeah. I met with the agent who kind of did the cold call with me, the cattle call. Met with me one-on-one, and I was a size 14 at the time, 21-ish years old, and he brought the owner of the agency in, and she kind of sat down with me, and she's just like, we think you're perfect. I'm 5'11", I'm very proportionate. And they said, you're perfect. I said, don't change a thing. And they gave me a contract and took it home to my mom, and my mom went in to meet with them too, and they ended up giving her a contract, and my mom did a couple of photo shoots as well as a mature
Really?
Couple. Yeah, it was kind of fun.
Your mom was a plus model as well?
She did a couple of shoots for a local client in Canada called Eaton's, and so she did her a little spin with it, but she was working full time, and it was really difficult for her to get time off to go to do the jobs because they're very sporadic. And so she's like, it was fun, but it's not my calling, but, and kind of left me, to live that life on my own.
Well, how do you think the plus industry has changed over the last 10 years?
Well, I definitely say it's become more visible. Some of the stuff that really hasn't changed, it's kind of like trends. In the 80s, fluorescents were in, and then they went out. And then they came back. And then, floods went in, floods were in and floods were out, and so on and so forth. And I think the plus-size industry is sort of a mimic of that kind of thing. One season we're a trend and everybody wants us, and then the next season, or the next year, nobody wants anything to do with us. And then the next year we're hot again, and then the next year we're not. And so I think even though we're more visible, I definitely think that people still don't take us seriously.
Mhm. And you've done a lot of modeling overseas. How does the overseas plus industry compare to the U.S.?
I think it's a little more equal overseas. You definitely make more money overseas than you do in the American market.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I would get booked for a job in Germany with Quelle, and they would book me for 5 days at, $2,000 day rate, and you're working there for a week to pay your expenses, and, you come home after a week with the Germans, and you're making $10,000. The American clients, there's not really American clients who have catalogs that would take a week to shoot specifically for plus sizes. So we might get a day or two, Kohl's might hire you for a couple of hours, or Olapopkin US might hire you for a couple of days or just one day to shoot their catalog. But there's not really one U.S. client that can sustain a plus-size model for a week's worth of shooting. And so therefore in the U.S. you might only work for 1 day or 2 days, and you wouldn't make nearly as much. So you definitely, as a plus-size model, want to get in with the Europeans because they definitely, I just think it's a larger market and more acceptable over there. They're not as superficial, I guess, without being insulting.
Okay, because I always thought U.S. had the biggest plus industry, and it was the biggest and the brightest.
Well, we do have the biggest, but it may not. See, here's the fun thing. I started modeling in Canada, in Toronto, and Canadian clients, it was very difficult to get in with Canadian clients. So after getting a couple of jobs and some tears under my belt, I moved to Chicago and signed a contract with Elite Model Management. And then I started to work locally in Chicago, and they started to direct book me through the United States, and my book started to get more tears. Well, because even though I was trained in Canada and I went through classes in Canada and I learned about a model bag in Canada and my agency invested in me, when I came to the States, all of a sudden Canadian clients wanted to book me.
Okay.
Because the, other industries other than the United States look at plus-size models and models in general from the U.S. as being more experienced.
Oh,
so
okay.
they will actually pay more money to book me through my Chicago agency than they would have to book me through Toronto. So as a Canadian model living in the United States to work for a Canadian client, I was actually respected more than I was as a Canadian model living in Canada and being booked through a Canadian agency.
No, that's weird.
Yeah, it's really kind of backwards. But the way the world sees American models is that, we're more professional, we're more put together, and we have more experience, which is true in the sense because we have, let's say, 25 plus-size clients nationally throughout the United States, and that's a very modest, low number, but I'm just, hypothetically speaking. You go to Germany, and Germany might only have 5.
Okay.
So they look at it going, okay, well, the U.S. has all these, plus-size clients, and they have these large agencies, and they have more plus-size models, but we're also a larger country.
Okay.
If you broke it down to, just the state of Texas, which is, I think even bigger than the country of Germany, it might be relative. But when they're looking at country versus country, per capita, we absolutely have more to offer, and so our models do tend to get more experience because there's more here.
Very interesting. Now, besides modeling, you also do spokesmodeling and commentating. So tell us about some of the things you've done in that part of the industry.
Well, on my trip to Australia, I met a United States Navy sailor, and I fell in love and relocated from Miami Beach to Toledo, Ohio. And Toledo, Ohio is not known as the Mecca of fashion.
Right.
So I kind of had to get really inventive with getting local work. And what ended up happening is I aligned myself with a school, and that's a very long story, and that's a whole other show, Shanice. But I aligned myself and did some, teaching and did some modeling classes and things like that. And then I auditioned for a local commercial. And long story short, I ended up being cast as a host for 2 different programs. One was for the WB, the local WB affiliate at the time that's now the CW, but then also for the local NBC station in Toledo, Ohio. And I was doing freelance reporting, and I was doing on the spot, and some of it was previously was written, scripted, and then the other part was completely ad-lib. So it kind of allowed me, one, to be really personable and show my side, and then the other side taught me how to be scripted and memorizing and doing multiple takes and whatnot. And so after living in Toledo for a few years, my husband and I moved to Italy, and we spent 3 years working in Italy, and I started classes in Italy for young girls between the ages of 5 and 12, and I was teaching etiquette and modeling. And we would do photo shoots, and we would do runway classes, and we would do little fashion shows for their parents and whatnot, and give the little, they'd give these girls an idea of, it didn't matter what size you were, it mattered how you took a picture, and it mattered your personality, and it was just so much fun. Well, the local Morale, Welfare, Recreation Department, which provides entertainment for the troops and puts on special events, sort of caught wind of me, and they hired me as a freelance MC. And so I started hosting live events for the MWR and the Navy Exchange in Europe, and I would help, I would host and work with local bands that they would bring in, and I would work, 3-day events for them and whatnot for the troops. And so that sort of developed my emceeing and my hosting. So I came back to the States, and that seems to be carrying on now and moving me into a new direction.
So, as you mentioned, you started classes overseas, but now you brought it to your hometown and you started a institute, and it's called the Understudies Fashion and Modeling Etiquette Institute. So tell us more about that.
Well, the one thing that I've noticed when I moved to Hampton Roads, Virginia, Virginia Beach, basically in 2008, I noticed that the industry here was really missing a lot of stuff, and I was trying to find local work because I it doesn't matter what I'm doing as long as I'm in the field that I love, and that's modeling. And so I was looking for local work, and it's just not an organized area as far as fashion is concerned. And so I had a lot of these kids coming to me that had a lot of talent and a lot of potential, and I just had nowhere to go. And I didn't know where to send them because there really isn't anything locally. And then God sort of presented a concept to me called Understudies. And as I've mentioned, I've been teaching for years, and I used to actually teach the green models on the board at Irene Marie in Miami Beach when I was based there. And any of the new girls that would come in, I would do little boot camps with them and, get them up to speed as to what to expect on jobs and how they should act and so on and so forth. And basically everything that your previous caller was talking about, and, I was just sitting here on the other end of the phone just nodding my head going, yep, do your research, yep. Bring nude bras. Yep. Typically agencies don't invest that in their models. They get their models, and the models learn it the hard way. And so what I did is, with my business partner, who is also my brother, I went through and I said, well, what did I learn as a model? Well, the one thing I learned is that I'm a business and I'm a product. And I'm a product that other companies hire to market their product. And if I don't represent myself and sell myself the best, then I can't convince them to hire me to sell their product. And, what your previous caller said about, them they do focus groups, and they do, look at the model that sells the most clothes. That's very accurate because and then that model will rebook and rebook and rebook. So that's why, some girls you see have campaigns for years. So I started Understudies as the first business trade school for the fashion industry, and our curriculum covers everything from branding, product, marketing. We do accounting classes, financial planning, budgeting. We do dance classes, self-defense classes. Every model takes an introductory photography course. They take hair and makeup, skincare. I mean, we literally have incorporated 15 years of my life and experience as a model into a business school program.
Wow. Now, before we move on to the next question, I just want to tell the audience that we're running out of time, so the live stream is going to end, but we're going to finish the interview, and you can hear the rest of this interview on the website and the archives because it's a lot of more good information. We just ran a little long tonight, but we're gonna get all the info still. So, what do you say to critics that will say that you don't need to go to a school or be trained to be a model?
I would say that that's 50% true, because basically a lot of the stuff you're going to learn on the job. But if you want to have longevity and you want to treat this as a business, you absolutely need some sort of training. Now, whether it's business school, you don't need to go and take go to a school, what these so-called modeling schools. You don't need to walk into one of these modeling schools that have instructors that don't know what they're doing. And one of the perfect example of this is I was watching America's Next Top Model one season, and they had a girl audition for, wanted to be one of the models on the show, and she came out and, Tyra Banks asked her, so, what do you do? She goes, well, I'm a runway coach at a modeling school in, some small town America.
Mhm.
And Tyra's like, oh, so you've modeled before? And she's like, no, I've never modeled before. And I'm just thinking to myself, you could not pay me to stand in front of one of the world's leading supermodels who's made most of her money on the runway and tell her you're a runway instructor, yet you've never walked a runway professionally in your entire life.
No
I'm
credibility.
Like, right, exactly. And that's what a lot of these modeling schools do, is they prey on the fact that, you know, they prey on the dreams of the young. And to be a model, there's no union to protect them. There's nothing out there that says, you know, whether they can be or can't be. It's not like acting, where acting has unions, where they have SAG and AFTRA, and in order to be taken seriously, you have to pay and become part of the union, and the union protects you, and if you have the SAG tag behind your name, it means that you've done X amount of work and whatnot. In the modeling world, there's no regulation, so there's no one to verify what's authentic and what's not, and so it really is an open breeding ground for scams. And so for you to say, no, you don't need to go to a modeling school, because there are modeling schools that they've never had a practical day in their life of this industry. And that's one of the things I battle on a daily basis, is I get, you know, kids that call me up and go, do I have to pay to be a part of your agency? You know, do I have to? And I'm thinking to myself, you poor things, you know, like they've just been completely blindsided and brainwashed into thinking that, you know, illegitimacy is the accurate way to describe this industry. So, you know, it's part of my mission to set out and go, look, I'm legitimate. You know, I have the background to prove it, and that's why we didn't create a modeling school. We created a business etiquette school. So what we're teaching, whether they're a model or a photographer or a hair and makeup artist or even a starter designer, we teach them all business sense, and it's a trade school. So it's not a modeling school, and that's one thing, you know, I'm very adamant about is I don't own a modeling school. I don't run a modeling school because I don't teach modeling. I teach business, but it's focused, centered around the fashion industry.
And besides that project, you also have an Understudies model management. Now tell us more about that.
Yeah, I've never wanted to own an agency. In my experience with models, majority speaking, aren't necessarily, there's quite a few that just, you know, aren't the sharpest tools in the shed, and I don't have really good bedside manner when it comes to hand-holding and coddling and things like that, and it's, you know, that's just my personality. I've never really been good at that. And so running an agency is a lot like babysitting. Is, you know, you get a lot of kids that come in and you have to stay on top of them, and you have to, you know, and I just don't have that kind of patience level. So owning an agency was never my goal in life. But with Understudies, the students that come through who have the potential to go to New York or go to Los Angeles or go to Milano or go to Paris or anything, that there's nobody here to help them. And so what I did is I created an in-house agency so that the graduates who have this stellar education behind them and practical, because part of the curriculum at Understudies is that the students are required to produce their own photo shoots, do their own hair and makeup, and then, you know, sit down with me and edit their film so that they get a concept of the whole, you know, what goes into it.
So you're not like their manager that books jobs for them. It's just like personal one-on-one career coaching in a sense?
Basically, yeah. And so after that, they need somewhere to go to get them jobs. And so what Understudies Model Management does is it gives them the training that they need to build a relationship with an agent. So it teaches them how to take bookings. It teaches them how to, you know, what the lingo is in the industry and how to build a comp card and how to, you know, have their portfolio on the web. And it just kind of, it's sort of an introductory way to get them to understand the relationship between model and agent before they hit a market like New York where, you know, they'll get eaten alive if they can't keep up.
Right. Now, with your model management, you have different divisions.
Right.
One of them is plus size. So are you currently looking for plus size models to represent?
I am, and you wouldn't believe how hard it is to find them.
Because of your area?
I guess. I've seen them, and I have one girl who I was they look at me like I'm crazy when I walk up to them because I meet them in the grocery store, or I meet them, at the IHOP or wherever I meet them, and I'm just like, don't take this the wrong way, but have you ever thought about modeling? And then I approach them, well, you ever thought of being a plus-size model? And believe it or not, the note plus beside them as a model, they still look at it, almost offensively.
Yeah, they get offended probably.
Yeah, they do. And, I have to explain to them, who I am, what my background is, and I have to validate myself. And it's kind of frustrating because I don't like to name drop and I don't like to, toot my own horn and things like that. But over the years, as a product, I've had to market myself in order to stay relevant and so on and so forth. So, but for me to go out and, solicit talent and things like that, it's really kind of frustrating that I can't find plus-size models locally, to get into the industry. I have straight sizes and I have juniors and I have men, and for some pluses are just like, I'm the only one on the board. No, I'm not my own agent. I actually have an agent who runs the agency for me because it's very, I can't represent myself. That's counterproductive. But,
what are you looking for? Like, there's a lot of plus-size models that are listening, and I'm sure some are in the area. But are you looking for a certain stats, the industry stats?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I've learned enough about the industry to know that if you're a beautiful girl and you have a drop-dead gorgeous face, there's a market for you. Mm-hmm. So even if you're a full-figured girl, but you don't meet the height requirements of the industry, then we're not going to market you as a plus-size model. We're going to market you as a beauty model, and we're going to hit cosmetics industry, and we're going to, so we have to focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. And, so if the girl is a phenomenal talent and she's got the looks for it and stuff, then, I won't turn her away. But I'm also not going to lie to someone if they walk in the door and they're 5'5" and they're a size 16, and I'm not going to lie to them and say, yeah, you can be a plus-size model. Mm-hmm. That's just cruel, and I want to be as real with them as possible. The industry standards are 5'10" to 6 foot, and even 5'9", if you're super fabulous like Kate Dillon. And, you need to be proportionate, even though, as plus sizes, we come literally in every shape and size. And I describe us as snowflakes because there's no two that are alike. You have apple shapes and pear shapes and hourglasses, and, you have long legs and short torsos and vice versa. And so, I'm looking for industry standards, of course, because that's what's going to sell. And, of course, I want the best product to sell. Mm-hmm. And, you can't market a plus-size model to a company like Fashion Bug if it doesn't fit the aesthetics of the company. It just doesn't work.
And so right now you're looking only for models in Virginia, not in just across the United States.
No, well, the problem is that my big thing is on development. I mean, I'll take a model that is that lives in Los Angeles. The thing is that it's going to be very difficult with me to develop them and get them to where they need to be in the industry. Because I do everything from producing photo shoots to hiring photographers and interviewing photographers to shoot the talent, interviewing hair and makeup artists. I mean, they have to adhere to the standards that I've become accustomed to working in this industry for 15 years. I've worked with the best of the best. I've worked with professionals. And if you don't live up to the standards that I'm used to, that means you don't live up to the standards of the industry. And I'm not going to waste my time or my model's time on you going and shooting them when the pictures they're going to get are completely useless.
So if someone is listening and want to submit, how do they get their pictures to you?
They can go to the Understudies.us website or the Understudies Model Management, which is www.usmmva.com. They can do a model submission. They can contact me on Facebook. I mentor a lot of up-and-coming plus-size models on Facebook. And they can just, Tracie Stern, I'm on Facebook. They can friend request me. I'm very approachable. And, I didn't get to where I was in this industry without having the help of those that went before me. And, my biggest thing is just making sure they're prepared and making sure that they know how this industry works. And unfortunately, if they're in Los Angeles, I'm on the opposite coast, and there's not really a lot I can do in person. But I can definitely give them the resources that they need through the internet at least. And then if I do come out to LA, then I can make arrangements to meet with them in person and, go through it that way.
Okay. So do you have anything coming up that we can be on the lookout for?
Actually, there's a couple things. Well, one, I'm doing regional emceeing. I'm commentating now for Macy's Regional. Mm-hmm. And I've done a couple shows, did one in Chicago, one in St. Louis recently, and that seems to be going really, really well, and I absolutely love it. But there's one really big thing on the horizon, and I really can't get into detail because I can't discuss it due to legal things, but I am number one on the list of a reality show.
Oh,
shooting a pilot. And it's not one of these plus-size reality shows. Let's just say
you're not looking for love on the show, are you?
No. I'm happily married with 2 beautiful children and completely content with my life.
Okay.
No, this is actually, and I'm really looking forward to it because it's actually going to be a show that's not going to focus on me being a plus-size.
Oh, okay.
It's going to focus on me being me, and me being the best size 14 that I can be, living the life that, God has given me, and, focusing on that instead of focusing on segregating me and saying, oh, she's such a pretty girl and she's a plus size. So that justifies me being a 14. It's a show that actually I don't have to justify the fact that I'm a size 14 and it's a natural size. I play volleyball 2 hours every week, and I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old boy that I chase after on a constant basis, and I eat 3 meals a day, and I'm healthy for my background. So for me, I'm really looking forward to it. That it's a show that's not about plus sizes. It's about women.
As soon as you can announce it, you'll have to let me know so I can announce it on the show. So
absolutely. You'll be one of the first. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor for me to speak with you tonight. So I'm thrilled, and I definitely will keep that line of communication open with you.
Well, thank you. And tell us your official website.
Well, I do not have an official website anymore. I used to, and I probably will get back into it. But when I took time off to start a family and really focus on that, I sort of backed out of the industry for a few years and took a little bit of a hiatus. And so after moving to Europe and living in Europe for 3 years and coming home, the way that the market works now is a little bit different. So I will be developing a new website, especially if this reality show takes off. But, I'm using the social media way. I'm going, I'm on Facebook. I'm on MySpace, although I don't use MySpace.
But your school has a website.
Yes, my school has a website, and that's www.understudies.us. But if you want to follow me as a model and follow, things that I'm doing and endeavors that I'm doing, pretty much you'll find that on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on the show. We went way over, but it was worth it. You had a lot of good information.
When I saw the list of questions, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, girl, I can talk about just one of these for like 4 hours. If there's one thing that God gave me, it was a gift of gab. So I could probably do a 3-hour radio show with just me, honey. I'm telling you.
Oh, well, I'll have to get you back on with more time.
Well, I would be honored. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and it means a lot that you are out there and you're providing an outlet for women, not just plus size models, because it goes so much bigger than that, and I know you're aware of that. But
right.
It's so important for women to just accept themselves and understand that it's okay to be themselves. If we all look the same, the world would just be such a boring place.
Right.
So.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show, and continued success with your career and projects.
Well, thanks, Chenese. Same to you. I look forward to meeting you one day.
Yes, me too. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. You too.
And thank you to all of our fabulous guests this evening. Tune in next time, and we'll have more Plus industry professionals with stories to not only inspire you, but keep you connected with the curvy community. If you're interested in advertising on our show, being a guest, visit the website at www.plusmodelradio.com. And if you haven't already, don't forget to join our fan page on Facebook at facebook.com/plusmodelradio. I've been your host this evening, Chenese Lewis. Thank you for tuning in and supporting Plus Model Radio. Until next time, keep thriving in your curves and be blessed.